And so at 5 then, so did you start allowance? Do you pay for chores? I mean, how did that actually what did it look like at your table? Because you didn't have the book, and then
Mhm.
you were looking for books, but what did it look like? Take us in your kitchen.
Yep. So we started with pay for chores. So we started to do, okay, like here's your 5 chores to do. If you do all five, you get $5 this week. So we started kind of tracking that. You know how old his children are. They were there. He was all over it. He was like, okay, check this off the list. I love it. Okay, I'll do that chore. I'll get $1. This is great. And so we started with the kind of just traditional Dave Ramsey type methods. And now it's kind of evolved because we've kind of thought about, okay, what chores do we want to pay for, if any? Because the big thing is we want them to have the money to learn from, right? To
Right.
experience that pain, to make those decisions, to feel what it's like to manage the money. So we've kind of evolved from like, okay, like these chores are just, you live here, this is what you do, right? And if you want to do extra chores, if you want to come up with the idea for them, we really love that. If they come up with a new idea for chores to be paid for, like have them present it to us, and then we can say how much we would pay for such an activity. But then, once my second son started doing a lot of the chores too, it became a lot harder to manage with the chore chart because he wasn't
Mm.
as motivated to really, he didn't really care. He's like, oh, well, maybe I'll do one chore and get $1. Meh, that's fine.
Now
So
that
now
sounds like
it's
John, right? Julie, that sounds like John.
Oh, totally. It actually sounds like Cassidy too, and I think that was one of the reasons I never went that route because I could see
Mhm.
them being like, I don't feel like doing it." So, chores are
Yeah.
not optional here. When I tell you it needs to be done, it needs to be done, and maybe I'll give you a choice on which one you do, but, like, you're doing it, and so we
Mhm.
always kept those 2 things very, very separate.
Yep. Yep, and I'm really excited for when they can work outside of the home. I wanna see, like,
Mhm.
this summer if they have some
Same.
ideas of maybe jobs they could do in the neighborhood or things like that. Because I think working for someone else is an even better way to do it, right? Because then you understand, like, "Okay, I am accountable to this person. I have a job to do." It's just a different experience than being paid from your parents.
Yeah. Where we ran into trouble with Cassidy was she is an entrepreneur, a born entrepreneur, and she had started this beading business a couple years ago. And so she would bead, while she watched TV, and it was really fun for her. And then she'd go out and sell it. And sometimes she would make $300 in like an hour selling her beads.
Wow.
And so then now she's since given up her bead business. She actually just sold all of her beads, every bit
Mm.
of everything for
Her inventory.
$150. Yeah. So she sold her business. So that was good practice. But the thing is, she's now operating in like big numbers. And so for her to go and walk a dog for $5 is like, not worth my time. I don't need the $5. She thinks in too big of numbers and she's only 12, And so she knows what things cost. She knows, she has to make a decision of does she get her nails done or does she buy a new pair of shoes? And all of those are big numbers too. We're no longer talking in the fives and tens. And at 12, you should be walking a dog for $5. Like you should be, also doing those chores and jobs and stuff. So I think she's got this like CEO mentality where she's like, I work in big numbers, I delegate, I'm just going to get a team and they're going to do all those little things. And I suppose, we'll see where that goes. And it's kind of exciting, but it's also like frustrating as a mom where you're like, come on, just fold the laundry for me for $5. Nope, not worth it. So
I love it.
we
I like her attitude.
It sounds like she needs some twin 5-year-olds around so she can delegate.
She
Mhm.
does, yep, she would do good with that, but then there's John that really will, like, run an errand for me for a mere $2.50 because he knows he needs that $2.50, for frozen yogurt tomorrow when he's out with his friends, so they operate in very different numbers and mindsets.
Everybody describes their kids, "Oh, my kids are so opposite," but then when you have a third or a fourth, you understand that opposite-er is a word, and then for the word opposite-er is a word. So
They're all
so
so
Jamie,
different.
how right. So how has that then evolved? So from the 10 to the 8, and now your chore chart was getting a little messy, and now you have the 2 5-year-olds. Now what does your chore chart look like? Have you scrapped it completely or 80%, and where does allowance fit in now?
Yeah, it's still on the fridge. It's still this big dry erase thing on the fridge, the chore chart, but we don't use it as often anymore. So right now it's like kind of like the big kids are on salary in a way, right? They're not like hourly workers anymore, but they just know like they get up, they need to unload the dishwasher. The big kids do every morning because we run the dishwasher every single day because maybe twice a day because
Yeah.
Of
that's how
course.
we roll.
Right. Right.
And then just they know they need to take we have a compost thing that needs to go out. And so one kid checks that every morning to see if that needs to go out. And then we do the recycling. We have a little recycle bin in our kitchen, and then we take it to the garage bin. So that's all their just morning stuff that they need to take care of before they can do anything fun,
Can I
like get
just
ready.
stop you right there and say that is all
Yeah.
amazing? Like, if I can get my kids out the door, both of them at the time they need to go, I'm like, I won. We did it, without me screaming at John, like, get out of, where it takes so long. So if you can actually have them also get things done in the morning, like, girl, that's it. You're living.
It took a while to like back into it though. Like it hasn't always been that way. It was like, okay, what do we want to have done when? And then when do we need to wake up to like accomplish these things? And
Mm,
Right.
so it's been a working
a
backward
process. Yeah.
situation.
Hmm.
But it is really great when, the 10-year-old, if he gets all the stuff done, he eats his breakfast, brushes his teeth, gets the dishwasher unloaded, the recycle's taken out. He can watch TV before we leave for school. And so he's like on it. Like,
Yeah, those motivators, different for each
Right.
kid too. Like one
Yeah.
might be interested in that and another one might be like, I want money.
yeah, the 8-year-old, he does just eating his breakfast, chilling out. Like, I don't care.
So what is their salary for the older kids? What do they get versus what can they earn?
So their base salary is about $5 a week, and then I think I need to increase it though for my 10-year-old here soon to kind of raise with inflation. And then the little kids get $3 a week, depending on the chores that they do. And with them, we do pay them like right after they do something for the little kids, just so it's kind of like, okay, you did the job, here's the money.
Mm.
So it concretes that lesson. But for the bigger kids, it's kind of a Sunday payday situation.
So every Sunday. So aside from writing all these books and aside from doing all this, you also find the time to sit down with all of them and do all their payday every week.
Well, it's not an event. It's really just like boop, boop,
Okay.
boop, boop.
Here.
See
Okay.
you
Yeah.
later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go
All
put
right.
it in your jars or your wallets.
So you are human. Okay. Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Alec wants you to sit down for an hour with each one every Sunday and talk about those $5 and where
Yes.
they're
No, no.
going.
Handwrite the
Monthly.
W-2. Here's your
Mhm.
tax form. Yeah.
Monthly. Monthly would be good enough. But yeah. Wow. I was going to say that would be. You really are a
Super
time
Yeah.
human.
blocker.
And
Yeah.
they remind us, like, if we don't do it, if it's like noon on Sunday and it hasn't happened yet, they're like, so it's payday, right? So they don't let us forget
That's the mark of consistency, right? They know that
it.
that's to expect it. That's amazing. And then,
Yeah.
so what do they do with it? So payday, and do you have the four slotted piggy bank, the three slotted piggy bank, the jars, the accounts? I mean, what do they all do with their money?
Yep. Right now, they all have jars, so the give, save, spend jars, and the target is to have them like when they get paid, like $5, for instance, one to give, two to save, the rest to spend. And then the savings jar is really not. They're not saving up for something super long term, just something bigger than normal. But we do let them kind of decide. Okay, are you going to take some of your give jar to church this weekend, or when you are go or if we're going to the fair or something and they want to play all the games, like we let them decide like how much they're bringing from the spend jar. And then we let them buy all the stupid stuff they want to buy with their
Right.
money at Target
Make
or
all the
wherever
mistakes.
so that they make the mistake and hopefully learn from it, right? So our big thing is just following up after the purchase, like a week or so later, to say like, oh, where is that thing you bought? Are you still enjoying it? Are you happy that you bought that thing instead of saving your money for something else? And I think that is the bigger piece of it because it's always hard to watch them just throw money away if you're gonna like throw those Pokemon cards in the recycle bin next week. But well, I do think you have to let them make the decision and make the choice and feel the consequence of that.